Hello and welcome to Fenton Gaming Reviews Dungeons & Dragons Dark Alliance. I'm your reviewer, Fenton. In this review of Dungeons & Dragons Dark Alliance, we're going to ask the burning question: is Dungeons & Dragons Dark Alliance worth your time and money? As always, like, comment, and subscribe to my channel for more content like this. Do not forget to hit the notification bell to be updated and more. Now, please note this review, I will give out spoilers, so be warned. Other than that, sit back and enjoy the review. Now, I do felt like they did a great job of picking the 4 characters. Yeah, that is right, the main 4 of the companions. So let's go ahead and talk about each of them. For example, we got Driss, the renegade drow. In this game, he's like an assassin, fast-paced warrior with the highest DPS ever. So let's talk about the next one. Next up is Wolfgar. He has a 2-handed hammer that does burst damage. He could do shockwaves and much more. So let's go ahead and talk about the shield dwarf. Next up is Brunner, the shield dwarf, aka the tank. He uses his shield, he uses his axe, and he'll tank for you. Last but not least is Caddy Bree, the archer of the team, also the support member, long range assassin, and more. I felt like the 4 characters they picked from the Companions of the Hall is a great and wonderful choice. Hopefully the DLC does pick more Companions of the Hall, so let's go ahead and talk about the next topic. Now, let's go ahead and talk about the upside of multiplayer. It can be very fun. For you, could bask in the loot. Caddy Bree could heal people. Wolfgar could take out the ads. While Driss could attack a Verbeeg from behind, do extra damage. While Brunner is tanking it. So I felt like they did a good job of showcasing the why you should play this online. So that's about it for this. Let's go to the next topic. Now, let's go ahead and talk about the UI. It's very easy, very clean, even when you're in aim mode as Caddy Bree or the other characters. The character sheets there, really easy to get to. You even see the other stats too. Your items are there too. You equip very easily. You can switch things in and out. No other going to menus after menus after menus. So overall, I do feel like the UI is crisp and clear, even with the multiplayer section. Let's go ahead and go to the next part of the review. Now, the region they picked for this game is perfect since it's based off of after the first novel and also some of the other things in the Dungeons & Dragons world. Icewind Dale. Yeah, the same Icewind Dale, except for it's a few hundred years after both games. So I felt like this was a great choice to put this game in. Now, let's go ahead and talk about the graphics. They do look wonderful. And you can see ruins from afar, even ones that you could barely see. And when you even zoom in, yeah, Caddy Bree, for example, looks very great. So if you're playing this on a computer, for example, on a 3080 GeForce card, well, you're going to benefit this big time. So yeah, the graphics is a thumbs up for me. Let's talk about the voice actors and actresses. I felt like they did a great job of bringing this game alive, especially the leader of the Frost Giants. I'm not going to reveal who that voice actor is. For those of you who know who he is, I'll give you a hint. He was supposed to be having his own movie. Unfortunately, someone at a studio called WB messed it up. But still, let's go ahead and listen on Caddy Bree.
Not sure facing a beholder is the smartest life decision, but no one else is going to deal with this asshole.
Lines like that from the Companions of the Hall and even the enemies is really good. It's a step in the right direction. Let's go ahead and talk about the cutscene. This is like one of the high points of this game. Yeah, it looks great, wonderful. It sets the tones for the first act of the campaign and also the last act of the campaign, which is usually the boss act. So the developers or whoever's behind the cutscenes, they did a wonderful job on. Let's go ahead and talk about the music and sound. So I felt like the sound is really good. For example, your weapons clash against foes, your arrows hitting exploding arrows, and explosion blows up very nicely. So what is the problem with the music and sound? Well, it is the music itself. At times, music can be going on and off, sometimes at the right moments, at the wrong moments, and what's worst of all is it is not streamer friendly. That's why I shut off the music, unfortunately. So if you're like streaming this with your friends playing, you get to the title screen, for example, you could get DMCA, which is unfortunate and it sucks. This game does have some good story elements. I said some. For example, the Goblins campaign, that was very good. The Grey Dwarf campaign is great. Best of all was the Cultist one, since it's related to the Crystal Shard. So what happened to the rest of the story besides the yaks being narrated wonderfully? Well, you got from hunt to... Yeah, they just added that there, so this way you kill the boss that's a dragon or a beholder, which is what the fuck. Still, I wish it was more related to the shard. Instead, I just saw all over the place on some of the campaigns, which was a disappointment. Let's go ahead and talk about the gameplay. It's an action-adventure RPG game. It does show you critical hits and more. You can explore, look for loot or any bonus objectives. Problem with that, you repeat certain levels over again. It gets really tedious, and the developers did a poor job of hiding that. Yeah, so if you go through a certain level many times, you could probably get bored of it eventually. So yeah, gameplay's not good, not bad. It could have been better. Now let's go ahead and talk about combat. Now, combat, there are some good things, like for example, you can set up team attacks, especially for K-Bree. You can do execution, also counter attacks, and if you're K-Bree again, do charge shots. Problem with combat is it gets pretty repetitive, especially if you face against the same type of foes, or if the AI is not up to snuff. So yeah, they could improve combat, but it is what it is. Let's go ahead and talk about variety. Almost non-existent. The areas look very similar. Outside looks about the same. Underground looks the same. Even the variety of foes, yeah, they all look the same. Yeah, they could have done was just had goblins in one section, for example. Maybe they come back once in a while, for example, in the Verbeek campaign. But yeah, that's what's weakening the game, was variety. Yeah, it doesn't have any. It's same old, which is not good. Let's go ahead and talk about the controls. They absolutely suck. So, for example, you aim with K-Bree. Sometimes you go into kick when you don't want to. Other times, if you're doing team attacks or executions, you got that window. It's even random. It could be really short, like 1 or 2 seconds, which blows. What's worst of all is delay. Yeah, there are some actions that are delay. So, for example, if you want to heal yourself with a potion, yeah, you get a few seconds delay. And if you're playing especially on challenge rating 6, it could kill you. The controls are garbage. Now, you're thinking, okay, the loot system is touted as one of the best and one of the strongest. No, it's the exact opposite. It's total bullshit, everyone. And let me go ahead and explain why. So, if you're doing what you call it, challenge difficulty 1 through 6 to get better loot, and even if you're doing the certain campaigns, you want to focus on certain loot, like for example the goblin gear for K-Bree, you're thinking, okay, I'll be able to see more of that. No, that is so wrong. I'm even picking the highest challenge level, which is number 6, to go off screen and farm some of this to show you why it blows. So after you've beaten the level, you get the experience point scene and the shard scene. At least I get some purple shards because I did this on 6. However, the other stuff is totally random. I should have got more legendary, or better yet, more blues at least, and epics. And as for loot itself, well, you're going to get, let's see here, common and uncommon more often than you should, which blows. And you're thinking, okay, am I going to see any of the goblin type of stuff if I'm farming it for K-Bree? The answer is 9 out of 10 times, fuck no. You're not going to see that shit. You're going to see other shit like this, which definitely blows. And while I'm going to go ahead and show you this, I'm going to talk about the feats and moves system too. Yeah, you can get all the moves and feats in the game instead of being careful choosing which certain moves and certain feats you want, which, takes the power of choice away, which is unfortunate and definitely blows in that department. And you have to depend on a loot system like this where you sometimes don't get what you want, and you gotta farm about the same levels over and over again until you get what you need to build your character up, which is unfortunate and bad. And what's worse is some of the looks on the loot is absolutely garbage. I am not fucking kidding you. Carrie, like for example, she looks like a fucking infected from The Last of Us, which blows. And you cannot change that at all to other sets too, which, I mean, come on. The loot system is total garbage. Character builds are terrible, and you have to depend on a RNG system that totally blows. Now, let's go ahead and talk about the AI and how awful it is. It's terrible. It's garbage. I mean, come on. Other games, stuff like I'm doing, I would have been buzzed. Yeah, that gray dwarf with the shield would have went up the ladder while his buddies would have shot me from a distance safely to get me to move around. Instead, I'm taking full advantage of the AI, which it should not happen. And in some instances with melee, yeah, if I take out 1 or 2 foes, the others will wake up and go, oh boy, it's time to attack, instead of using line of sight and just running towards the melee person. Like, for example, they could have chased after Driss, but instead they're like their hands going, what's going on? What's up? Yeah, the developers did a crappy job of the AI, and it definitely shows. Now, let's go ahead and talk about the frame rate issues. This happens a lot in combat with some of the melee characters. Yeah, at times frame rate will definitely drop at random times. Unfortunately, I didn't catch that, but still, that's a huge bummer, especially if you have a high-end PC. For all of a sudden, you see the frame rate drop for no reason. Or if you have the next-gen consoles, which definitely blows. It could have been optimized much better, but unfortunately, it wasn't. Now, let's go ahead and talk about the grind in this game. It is not well hidden. It's right up front and in full force, which is unfortunate. Other games, like for example, Neverwinter Nights and the Baldur's Gate series, yeah, it's the story that keeps you captivated without you worrying about the grind. Diablo's series action, yeah, you don't have to worry about the grind at all. Even the Icewind Dale games, where you explore some very good dungeons without worrying about grinding up your characters or your party. Well, guess what? This game can be repetitive and boring, and it just shows why the grind is there. And at times you're doing the same levels over and over again. Even if you change things up, yeah, it gets boring really quick, unfortunately. Now, let's go ahead and talk about multiplayer, the downside of it. Unfortunately, the bugs, glitches, or any other problems get carried over to multiplayer. As for lobbies, you can see, no, it's totally random, which sucks. It's a roll of the dice. At other times, you could get someone that's a bunch of idiots. You could invite friends, etc. But still, I want to look at it like another menu to see what games I could pick and choose from. And unfortunately, it does not do that. I'm going to go ahead and tie 2 things at once. Monster experience and skippable encounters. Yeah, I'm going to be honest, neither of those should not happen like this. In other games, there's encounters where you have to fight and fight and fight in order to survive, unless you have to do something special. And the other thing is monster experience. Yeah, you get good experience from time to time, and once in a while, you get a level up. This game, no, experiences tally at the end. Normal monster trash is worth nothing, and you can skip most of the encounters except for getting Dwarven Runestone, those funky orbs, or you're forced to fight something. This should never happen like this. And with the AI that's so terrible, yeah, the monsters, by the time I run by them, it's too late for them to react. I mean, come on. Other games, you could get punished by doing this, unless you know what you're doing, but still, an average gamer could get punished big time, and then could be leading to death. This game, no, it kind of rewards you for, skipping stuff. This is a Dungeons & Dragon game. It's all about exploring too, and at times fight against foes, Well, guess what? They missed out on that department. Instead, I'm doing a nice little marathon run past some goblins that I should have been fighting and getting much better experience points. But nope, the developer's thinking, okay, let's just get this out the door. We'll worry about it later on. I mean, come on, I am dead serious. Still, that's one of the huge downsides. I wish they would definitely improve on that, but nope. We're stuck with this part, and I am almost at the Goblin Emperor already. You get killed by doing this type of crap in Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance 1 and 2. And Dungeons & Dragons Dark Alliance, nope, you just actually make it to the finish line. Now, as for this game, you're thinking, is it buggy and glitchy? Very buggy and glitchy. Like, for example, even though this was fixed, was our party leader died, and we all got teleported for no fucking reason, even though we're all alive, which was unfortunate. It blew big time. And when we get to the gate, it's locked out. That's one of the bugs and glitches, you know, it's fixed. There is more, though. And there's some that are even worse, to the point that you'll just quit and rage. You'll never come back to this game. Yeah, like for example, you cannot see all the health bars on foes, or if you defeat certain foes, you see like a ghost one all over the place too. You could get stuck in environments, and with this loot system, you have to complete the level in order to get the loot. Yeah, you could lose out on legendaries. Happened to me when I was stuck on somewhere else. Now, here is the worst one of all. Yeah, the infamous character wipe in multiplayer. Yeah, it's not just single player that happens, multiplayer too. But it magnifies much worse. So if you, for example, you complete a level like this, after the loot screen and more, someone else could get de-leveled. Yeah, that's right. They'll get back to level 1, lose all their feats, and worst of all, they definitely lose all the gold they spent on moves. It should not happen. It should have been more in Q&A. Instead, we got a buggy, glitchy, and one messed up game. Let me go ahead and talk about the difficulty and balance and why it's so awful. They are really awful, both of them. At a higher difficulty on certain bosses, like for example, the Beholder at difficulty 4 can one-shot you. The Dragon at difficulty 3 can one-shot you if you solo. Imagine if you do this with more players. Yeah, the one-shots will be coming more often, especially on difficulty 6 with the Goblin for no reason sometimes. As for damage, yeah, certain bosses could do 1 million worth of points of damage. Players could do that too. Players could stun lock when it should never happen, especially on bosses. As for balance of the 4 companions, well, guess what? It's not all equal. K-Bree and Driss could definitely do the DPS, even though K-Bree is more support. Bruno, unfortunately, suffers the short stick on damage. Wolfgar at times suffers 2. So difficulty spikes happen more often than it should. So yeah, I felt like balance and difficulty should have been worked on before the final product, but instead we got this hot mess. What is my final verdict on Dungeons & Dragons Dark Alliance? Here it is. Steam Summer Sale it 75% off with the score of 4 out of 10. If you like any of the Companion of the Hall characters, or you're into a short-term multiplayer, well, this game is for you. Otherwise, thanks to a game being buggy, glitchy, boring after leveling one character to max, and other features that brought it down, I'd probably say either skip or wait until a Steam Summer Sale, or better yet, until all the bugs and glitches that are really terrible gets fixed. This game could have been something, but instead we got this final product, and that is very unfortunate. I want to thank every one of you watching my review of Dungeons & Dragons Dark Alliance. Each and every one of you should have a great day or night. Please stay safe. Please subscribe to my channel for more content like this. If you like what you see, pick one of my suggestions on the upper left hand corner, or YouTube suggestions on the bottom left hand corner. Have a great day or night, and do please stay safe.